We first went with North Carolina FarmLink because we were in the process of trying to sell this farm and we wanted to sell it to farmers. We originally were using just classified ads, real estate agents, and Craigslist, advertising it as the farm. And we would unfortunately come out here and spend days showing the farm to people who were not serious farmers. Probably the majority of people, when they came to the property, is that they were expecting to see this successful, farm and ranch cover photo of what this farm was. Well, it wasn't.
Don't use a realtor, even though I've worked with realtors for many, many years. We had many come out here and they never got an evaluation on it that was proper. And when Rand and Alexandra went through, I think, farm credit, that they got a real appraisal, and it appraised what we thought it should be appraised for.
FarmLink was very supportive. It's an easy program to use. We were able to post photos, our contact information, etc., as opposed to doing through a real estate agent that's trying to make money off of you, or working off Craigslist that somebody's looking for a cheap piece of land and is not sincere about buying the property. That we knew if they had contacted North Carolina FarmLink and they were coming down here from such a long distance, that these people would be serious about buying a farm. So North Carolina FarmLink was just a real savior for both of us. We rented to Rand and Alexandria for right at 2 years before they bought it or talked seriously about buying it. And we were hoping that they would buy it because they had just really enhanced the community and the community likes them. We worked with them through the contracts and we both used the same lawyers. It was a very painless procedure and that's the way it worked out.
I tell the story that some years ago, Van and I were driving somewhere and he said, "If you had extra money, what would you do?" And I said, "I would buy land to help farmers who can't afford to buy their own land." And that's exactly what we did.
This property stood out to me for several reasons. It was in the headwaters of the Roanoke River. There are 5 streams here. The topography is just really beautiful. It's classic Piedmont rolling hills. And there was infrastructure on the farm because to start off with a completely raw land, it's quite expensive. Well, we started with the goal of finding young farmers with a lot of energy and also expertise that take over this, at least a portion of the farm, not all of it, but a portion of it.
I think NC FarmLink is absolutely fabulous because it is a way for people like us to find farmers to farm a land that we can't farm ourselves.
It was like a dating site for farmers and landowners, a personal ad site.
We just made up our profile because there was actually guidelines on FarmLink of what you should put out there. And so we specified what we wanted, what kind of land we had, and that we wanted somebody who would practice organic methods. When we interviewed them, I just knew right away that they were it. It was clear they were so knowledgeable. They asked very good questions. They followed through on everything, and here we are, years later.
We started with a 5-year commitment with a 2-year period if we changed our minds that they could find a new place. And we kept renewing this. It went from 5 to 10.
Yeah, and they asked us if we would extend the lease until they're at the age of retirement. And of course, we had to deal with the question of my children who are going to inherit this farm. And they know that there's a commitment to Keith and Megan. So if we died tomorrow, my children will honor this lease, and they've signed a document. We had a legal document done up that they will honor it so that Keith and Megan can continue through 2050.
And as sort of a further kind of safeguard, we've also put a
farmland easement
on the farm so it cannot be broken up for residential. It has to remain as a farm.
A big tree smashed our house, and so we were looking for a different property. And I came across this property several times, and it was all land. And I said, I do not want front yard. I do not want side yard. I was afraid I was going to end up mowing 100+ acres. The NC FarmLink kept popping up. And so I called in desperation and I said, I do not want to mow a yard that big. And so we talked, and within, it was so quick, within 24 hours, we had a FarmLink up, a profile of the farm. He came out and looked at the land, suggested what we needed, which I wanted was a farmer to help mow and to benefit from all the grass that we have out here. NC FarmLink only sent me quality people. They made it extremely difficult for me to decide. And that was a beautiful problem to have, because I went from nothing to several people. The lease was for a year, and we saw how that went, because I really wanted to see this thing in action. I wanted to see it work. It worked out beautifully, and not just that, but also be friends, be neighbors. It's priceless. I am very much into legacy plans. NC FarmLink helped implement a plan for me that I could pass on to my generation that follow me. They will know that they have good farmers in place to take care of the land.
I live here with my husband, Neil. This farm has been in his family probably since the early 1800s. He was starting a vineyard and a winery. Been growing herbs and flowers and vegetables probably for 30 years before I came here. And I was looking for property, and so our agreement with Neil was that I would help him with his winery if he would help me with this. So I actually contracted with him. We went into business together, and that was 15 years ago. So we operated a certified organic vegetable farm here for 13 consecutive years. Things at the winery got a little bit crazy, and I was pulled in that direction a lot more. And then Neil's mother, who's 100 years old, came to live with us. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do all of that and the farm. And I'd built a really nice farm business, especially clientele at the markets. And I really didn't want to discontinue that. I wanted to keep that going. I had started posting that I was maybe looking for a farm tenant. And what I realized was I was just answering millions of phone calls and millions of emails. And so I think I was talking with Joanna, and she said, I sent you that NC FarmLink, check that out, because I think that'll be the answer to your issue. And it was. And I found that program to be amazing. All the information it prompted me for all of that, that was probably the best thing about it, was it was so easy to use and it was so comprehensive that anybody reading, what I had to offer would know all the details without me having to say a word. I wanted someone who's going to follow along in the sustainable farming here, regenerative farming. Before that, I was getting a lot of calls from people who just wanted to rent. It really honed in on what I was looking for and what they were looking for. I mean, just perfect match. So we started out with just a year for their benefit and for mine. I didn't want to have somebody just come in for 2 or 3 months. We've just decided to just keep it going, ongoing. So every year we'll sit down and talk. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as things are the way they are, which I see them being that way for definitely into the future, they're here to stay.